Hi guys, Sabrina from Campbell's Freedom Farm, and there's lots of fun things in the fall that I really love, like picking huckleberries, making recipes with huckleberries, and they're finally ready. So how do I know a huckleberry is ready? Because really they can be poisonous if you pick them too soon. Not only do they have to turn black, but they turn into a non-glossy black. And that's when you know they're ready. And then to pick them, all I have to do is just take my shears and my little strainer and that's it. Now, the great thing about huckleberries and even most of the fruits like blueberries, we could freeze these or we could bring them in, but let me show you. Don't they look wonderful? Now they're glossy because it's early morning and there's some dew going. So let me pick these, and then I have some else I want to pick for a recipe I'm going to show you that's actually kind of healthy. Can you kind of have a healthy recipe, dessert recipe? Well, we'll see. All right, the next section is I have some squash plants, and I do have some squash on here, and that's great, but I also have some blooms. The chance of them having the fruit develop before the first frost isn't pretty good. So another great thing to do with these blooms is to stuff them, like a dessert with huckleberries. Let's pick one, and I'll show you in the kitchen. They are so exotic kind of looking and beautiful. I'll see you in the kitchen. Okay, there's some wonderful things you could do with huckleberries. But keep in mind, while they're super healthy, they are not the sweetest tasting fruit that you could get hold of. That's why I use them in recipes. And for me, I'm really trying to do the keto thing, even though this isn't keto. And my dog's hungry. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff it into the squash bloom, which is wonderful because the chance of it making a squash right now, this far in the game, it's a little too late. So I have a 1/4 cup of cream cheese that I have warmed. Actually, I want it very warm. Now, I have honey. I try not to use sugar, and really, I am even been using honey. Because they're so bitter, I am adding a 1/2 teaspoon of honey. And kind of just squish it in. I cut them in half because I really want the flavoring of the cheese and the honey to mix in there. Let me come up so you could see it. Isn't that great? They really look like blueberries. And now I'm going to mix it in. It's the simplest recipe. Then I'm going to squeeze, without the seeds, which I just dropped, some lemon juice. Now, the lemon juice will do many things. One, it's going to add a nice flavor to it with that bitterness to get rid of, and it'll also neutralize that bitterness. So it works out well. Then all I'm going to do is just mix it really well. Okay, my colleagues were talking about huckleberries, and they said, I wonder if the huckleberry stories came from this. But one of them researched it, and sadly it did not. Now, when I cut these blooms, I left about 4 inches. Why? Because these are edible, and if you're going to this point of making an elegant dessert, You want that look. I mean, it's really good. Okay, I'm going to take the middle out. Just squeeze it out. Pollination is done. And then all I'm going to do is carefully stuff it. Now, you have a choice. You can really stuff it full and bend it over, or you could just put a tiny amount in and close it so it flares up. But I'm going to overstuff mine. And then I'm just going to kind of fold the petals in. So see here, all I'm going to do is just fold over and over and over again. And then it's really cute top right there. So it looks like this. Now, to keep everything together, I'm going to do a whitewash from an egg. And this will really make almost like a crust on it. And it'll also kind of seal it, which is what we want, because the cheese hat is probably going to come out anyway. And that's it, and the stem. Now, you can add a little salt, but since I'm using cream cheese, it already has some salt, and I'm really not into a whole bunch of salt. Another option for cheese, which I really want to do, but Taylor said do the cream cheese, is goat's cheese. I stuff every flour with goat's cheese. It's a remarkable flavor, and then you add some huckleberries. I mean, come on, what's better? All right, now we have some options. Do we bake it or do we fry it? I prefer to bake it. The only issue with that, you don't have that crunchy texture underneath, but the front, the top of it, always looks perfect. Now, if you fry it, and I only have a couple, so I'm just going to fry it. It's easier in this heat not to turn on the oven. And I'm going to do it, and then I can flip it. Now, the other part is, those that are eating sugar, sometimes if you just take the granulated sugar, and you can play around with this, after it starts browning, you could put just a little on top, and that makes that really see-through crust. So when you take a bite, it's got that yum, you know. I'm just not eating sugar right now. I mean, this honey was the first sugar I've had in a while. So once that's done, then you want to eat it pretty much quickly because it tastes amazing warm. And some people put it over the French vanilla ice cream, which is good, and all that. I have picked some wild onion. I always garnish it. When you do a dessert like that, it's all about presentation. And so it's ready to go. Now, let's talk about the oil. No matter what, you need a little thin coat of oil so it doesn't stick. If you're frying it, a little more. You have a choice. I'm using right here the grapeseed oil. It's a clean taste. Olive oil is pretty good, but we're doing a high temperature. Coconut oil really gives that tropical taste, which with the French vanilla ice cream, it is pretty amazing, I have to say. That's probably one of my favorites, but again, because of the keto diet, I'm not eating that. But that doesn't mean you guys can't. So, all right, let me fry these real quick. It's like 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Now it's finished. Now, when I stuff the daylilies, I'm usually doing like 10 or 20, and I bake them. But I'm also doing the egg wash with panko. So I'm making this a dessert, and this is great for those not on keto diet. They could put it on ice cream, but it's really cute. Put it on a platter, and for me, I always cut wild onion. We eat this a lot. And then just make a beautiful dish. Doesn't look so pretty all the way there. I'm scared it'll tip and this is my dinner. But the huckleberries are a wonderful, wonderful annual fruit for us. We plant it and we harvest that year. We don't have to wait for years to come like the blueberries. And it's great for sauces. So if you do a lot of fish like we do, we kind of blend it, a little wine, cook it, and then put it on the fish. Amazing. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of it for tonight. But this Sabrina from Campbell's Freedom Farm, a helpful dish that you could prepare with your huckleberries. And let me know if you do any. Please, thumbs up.